Hi, I'm Becky Nepper from the American Legion, and we are so sorry that we can't be there to share our program with you folks this year, but we have an excerpt from last year's Freedom Walk that we hope you'll enjoy.
Well, this is the third year for our Freedom Walk program, and what we're doing here is we're trying to give the fifth graders in Spanish Fork and Salem an exposure to what being a veteran is and what service they've rendered to the country by having stations around the trail where they stop and visit for about 15-20 minutes with a veteran from each branch of service and learn a little bit about their service and sacrifice to provide the freedoms we enjoy in this country. We also teach them about the flag and the meaning and respect of the flag and why that means a lot to veterans. And we also talk to them about Flanders Field. We're going to have a closing ceremony a little later where we'll do the military rites that we do at the cemeteries for fallen veterans. And when they leave here today, we hope that they have a little more understanding of what being a patriotic American is, and will always want to pay respect to the flag the way we respect it as veterans.
I was asked to do this, this is my third year, and I am a Vietnam veteran. I was an Army Ranger in Vietnam, and I see our kids today not having this drive for patriotism or drive for freedom. And when they asked me if I would do this, I said yes, I'd love to participate because it's something that our young people need. And I like to bring the kids here and help them have a good experience. They give them the equipment to kind of put on and play with a little bit, and they seem to like that. So hopefully it's giving them a thought process that will say, no, I do like freedom, and I do like the way our America runs and our soldiers that protect us. Probably more than anything, I want them to know that this isn't just stuff on a movie. It's not on a video game. It's not a thing. It's real. It's real people. Real people have fought and died and left their limbs and their blood on foreign soil, and they need to know that. And so by having them physically handle that stuff, it becomes real to them, much more real than anything else that they would experience at this age. And I got to tell you, I was very impressed with a lot of the kids here. They asked some very intelligent, some very good questions, and I was impressed with that because I've gone to groups before and they didn't have good questions. These kids all did, and I was proud of them.
Well, it was an honor for me to be invited over here. I was asked to talk and explain to them briefly about my career in the Air Force, what I did, and the equipment I was involved with, the airplanes that I flew. And it was always rewarding because they were always interested, they paid attention. It was great to have them here. And it was great to share the experiences that I had. Vietnam, I had 2 tours to Vietnam. It was not a popular thing. When I came back, I had to change out of my military uniform before I went to the commercial terminal in San Francisco. And so to be able to come back and explain to these young people what it was like and to have them, their interest and their respect really means a lot to us veterans. The one thing I've noticed, I've done this for 3 years and really excited when I get invited back each year. But it's been very rewarding after I do the short 20-minute presentation to have some of these young people come up, shake my hand then, thank me for my service, have some questions. They're sincere, they're interested, and they want to know. And it's very rewarding to me after the negative experience I had coming back from Vietnam to have this kind of interest and this reception and this sincerity and appreciation for my service in the military.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that they're doing now that I was impressed with, and that's this wall over here that they do where the kids all come and they choose somebody that they know and they bring a little bio of those people. And I think that if they extend that, that's good. I also think that the public, their parents, their grandparents, and their neighbors need to know that they're doing this kind of thing and that they're involved in it. So I think it's something that has to be a broader brush put on it, maybe. And I think the little fifth graders, if they're actually saying, hey, I'm going to this Freedom Walk, and here's what we're going to do, and here's what we're going to see, I think it would kind of incite a lot of patriotism even in parents and grandparents and the community. So they can carry a lot of weight. I don't think they realize that, but as fifth graders, they got a lot of energy, and I think that they can bring a lot of people to that realization that they've got to be involved to keep their freedoms.
The Wall of Honor is students start researching a couple months before this event, and what they do is they learn through reading journals or other stories that have been passed on, and it's just a great way to honor someone in their family or just honor any veteran. And the cool thing about the Wall of Honor is that parents also learn about their own family members and even stories that they didn't know. I myself, researching with my son this year, learned more about my grandpa and how he was at Pearl Harbor. We were able to look online and we found an interview that my grandma was interviewed for with the newspaper. And we were also able to learn and read from some of my grandpa's personal journal about his time at Pearl Harbor. He served in the Marine Corps. Him and my grandma lived at the base in Pearl Harbor. And one morning, on December 7th, my grandpa walks outside of his house and to get the newspaper, and he looks up and he can see these planes, and he thought they were Marine Corps planes disguised as Japanese planes with their logo and their flag. And he goes back inside to read the newspaper, and a couple minutes later he hears a bunch of explosions, and he runs outside and he sees smoke just thousands of feet in the air. And he goes and grabs his handgun, and there's planes coming down through the streets of Pearl Harbor, and he's shooting up in the air at these planes with his own handgun. So it was really cool for me as a parent to read about my grandpa, and also to pass that down to my son as well, to help us remember the men and women who have fought for our country to protect our freedoms.
I hope that these young people, when they see the presentation from all of the branches of the military, when they see how things are handled at burial ceremonies, that they're going to have a new respect for veterans and for, hopefully, our flag. Flag displayed everywhere, and I'm sure it won't be an immediate change for all of them. I can tell by talking to them and looking at them. Some of them are very interested, some of them are very taken by it. I think others will think about it years later, maybe when they have military service or another member of their family has military service. But I hope that they will remember this and be more appreciative of veterans and their service and what's taken place here today, and exposing them and showing them what has gone on with many of these veterans.
Good day, students. It's wonderful to be with you, even if it is virtually. I want to share with you some of my thoughts about America, the flag, and Veterans Day, and let you understand that during this time of year especially, as we come into Thanksgiving and show appreciation and thanks for the blessings we have been given, and then as we move into Christmas and think about giving to others and doing service, those kinds of things, it's appropriate that we have a Veterans Day celebration just before those two events, because we owe so much. We're told in the scriptures that a person has no greater love than to lay down his life for another. And there have been many, many hundreds of people lay down their lives so that we can enjoy our freedoms. I was blessed to grow up in an era where I grew up watching World War II movies. My father is a World War II veteran. He and my mother both are still alive and doing well and taking care of themselves, but there was a very anxious period of time in their lives too. He was part of an admiral staff in the Pacific and part of a huge armada of ships that was preparing a plan to invade the mainland of Japan when the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So they didn't have to go in and invade Japan like they had thought, because that saved countless numbers of lives of Americans when that happened. But I want you to know what gives me the most pride. My father didn't talk very much about his experiences in the military, but the one thing he did, the one story he did tell with a lot of pride was after the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, the ship he was on docked in that harbor. And as they were allowed to leave the ship and walk down the streets that were in total ruin, the people came out along the streets and knelt down, bowed down to them, begging them not to kill them. These servicemen would reach down, take the hands of those Japanese people and lift them up and give them a piece of candy or something, just to acknowledge the fact that they didn't hold a grudge against them. America has never been one to go in and try and conquer nations and then put their people in servitude. But after the wars have been over, we've spent hundreds of millions of dollars helping countries to rebuild. This is the pride that we feel as Americans. This is what our flag stands for, and this is what the veterans and military people spend their lives for. I hope that you recognize the blessings that you've been given, and please thank a veteran when you have an opportunity to. Thank you very much.
Flag detail, attention. Hut! Retire the colors of the United States of America.
arm.